Hey everybody, it's your favorite gentleman, Marcus Norman of the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. Today we have our triple feature today, a very special guest and a unique guest. We wanted to talk about blockchain and fintech and how this is taking over the future and the industry. This man is a true expert in the field. He's going to break it down for us and help us get to a better understanding on how fintech and blockchain is the future. Stay tuned, stay with us. You won't want to miss this episode for the world. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's your favorite gentleman, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today I have Mr. Tristan Pelloux. This man wears many hats. He's a strategic advisor, fintech influencer, business mentor, and board member. He is the editor of Fintech Review, online media, which is an online media platform on the fintech industry. He's also the director of Strategwhy, an independent management consulting business. He is also a board member of the Audencia Alumni, the alumni network of Audencia Business School. This man is impactful. One of the many things he enjoys talking about and sharing and discussing is fintech and the future of how it is going to impact our lives. And here, help me welcome to the stage the incredible Mr. Tristan.
That's a cool intro. Thanks for having me, Marcus.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on the Gentleman Style Podcast stage, sir. You are phenomenal. I appreciate you.
Thanks. Yeah, I like to do many things at the same time. Not to be bored. That's the worst thing that can happen. So that's why I try to do as many things as I can.
Absolutely. That's boring, right? If we keep ourselves occupied, we stay engaged, stay in the game, and continue doing different things. It helps us grow. Hey, Miss Erica, how's it going, sir? So I'll have to ask: successful people have successful habits, things that they do every single day. It could be meditation, it could be yoga, it could be your favorite cup of coffee or tea. What's a successful habit that you have every single day that really sets the tone for the rest of your day?
Well, I read a lot, and what I mean by that is that I take the time to read what's going on. I think it's super important for me, like to understand what's going on in fintech, but broader, like, what's happening in business, what's happening in economics. So whatever, like, even if I have a packed day, I will spend the time and, an hour, 2 hours, whatever is needed for me to go through everything I need to go through. And yeah, I do this every day, and I think this is my little habit. It's not particularly like a secret or whatever. Everybody can do it. I just think it's really important for you to understand what's going on, to take the best decisions. You need to know like everything that is happening in your field and broadly, like things that can impact your business.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. So you could do multi different things. You're a man of many talents, many gifts, many treasures. And why fintech? Why you could do anything you want, right? You could be a financial advisor. You could be a major run your own fintech firm, which you already kind of do. But why fintech? What is so exciting about it that makes it stand out to you, and why do you do reviews on it?
Yeah, so I fell into it just I wouldn't say by mistake, just a bit randomly where I well, I went to business school. I studied finance and economics, and after that, I thought I would work in investment banking, like most of the people from my school. Like we were all like coming out of a major in finance, so like okay, we're all going to finance. And then I randomly fell into corporate strategy in retail banking, and the year was 2015. So there were a few things happening in fintech, but not as much as you would see now. And I saw so many things happening over the years, and I got really into innovation in financial services, how technology is transforming financial services, and I really liked, I really found it interesting. And the thing is, the more you get interested in something and the more you learn about it, the better you get at it. And it's actually some kind of virtuous circle that because you're good at it and people know that you're good at it, you get more interested and you read more, you interact more with people. And then, it's how you build an expertise is that by having this feedback loop, and yeah, and so I started being super interested in it, and now here I am. I mean, you would have told me five, six, maybe 6 years ago, I would be here in fintech and talking to you about it. I don't think I would have believed it. It's just the randomness of life a bit sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's where life takes us, right? Life takes us down many different paths. But we appreciate you. We appreciate the review and we appreciate what you do. Thank you for that because it is necessary. And so, in a nutshell, sir, if you could break it down from a 3,000-foot view, what is fintech and why? What does it mean and why is it important?
Yeah, sure. So I guess, I mean, fintech is just it's finance and technology, and you bring the two, and this is what it is. But for me, it's broader than that. It means, innovation in financial services, changing the way things are done. So I take a very broad view on what fintech is. It's like it's true, it's about the technology, but it's what you do with the technology. So it can be innovation in terms of business models, in terms of the way you talk to customers, the way you deliver products. So I look at the intersection of business, finance, economics, technology, and this is for me, this is what fintech is about. Um, but so yeah, so it's a lot of stuff. I mean, you would have seen, the Chimes, the Robin Hoods. These are fintech companies are really changing things, but fintech is also happening within like big banks because they use also technology like to deliver finance. Fintech is as old as an ATM. Like is fintech. It's technology to deliver you like bills, and all this is like it's so basically, like the history of innovation in financial services, you can go way back, and obviously it has accelerated after the financial crisis because a lot of new companies came in. The regulators were like, okay, we need more competition, we need innovation in the sector to avoid having a few big bangs that just don't, they just don't innovate enough, and they just become a bit lazy. Um, and then you also have various things. What I was saying is that it's not only happening in fintech. All the stuff that are happening in e-commerce is impacting what is happening in fintech, like Amazon, Google. All these guys are also pushing for innovation in the sector. So yeah, it's a very broad category.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And I appreciate you delicately breaking that down. He's like a brain surgeon, y'all. He's like a doctor with his scalpel and he's dissecting it and he's breaking it down to his financial pieces. We have a question from one of our VIP sponsors on the platform, which is twofold. Miss Erica Holmes. She asked, what platforms do you use? And what languages do you use? Makes sense.
So no, so what do you mean by platforms in terms of social media platforms?
So I think what she means is what platforms. So you broke some down. You said fintech in banking, right, and fintech in
Yeah.
businesses. So what are some fintech? What are some financial technologies that you've seen in the past couple weeks in banking that you've seen come to the forefront?
Yeah, okay. So I mean, obviously it's thing like when we look at innovation, I mean, it's not only in financial services, we tend to there's this general saying where we tend to overestimate like the change that the technology might have in the short term, and we underestimate what it might do in the long term. So, I've looked a lot over the years at blockchain technology and the things it can do in financial services, crypto stuff, but also like more like a bit deeper in terms of what blockchain technology can do, like to to because you have bits of financial services where there is no trust between people. And what blockchain technology can do is that it can solve for this mistrust that can happen. So for me, this is a nice trend in the sector. You obviously have lots of artificial intelligence that is going on. Like there are so many applications still. Um, and yeah, new technologies are coming that are just emerging, like quantum computing, like which basically means like bigger, like different way to compute. And so you could combine it with AI, for instance, and have like super powerful AI. So there's lots of platform technologies. I think like in terms of like if you look at the new business models as well, that you have something called banking as a service that is quite prominent these days and more popular, which is a technology company providing to another one all the tools to launch a bank. Basically, they give you like a bank in a box. So you just have to stamp your brand on it, and you have your bank. And these are infrastructure play in financial services, and you have a lot of companies. That's how you have so many companies coming to the market, is that they rely on others that provide them the technology, so they don't have to build everything from scratch.
Makes sense. Makes sense. We have another question from our audience, Mr. Duarte Rodriguez. He asks, "What's your opinion on cryptocurrency?" And that's a great question, sir. Do you believe the hype, or is it just all BS? Do you believe cryptocurrency is here to stay, or do you believe cryptocurrency is just temporary?
So yeah, it's actually a good one, because obviously, when it all emerged, and I can tell you, I've looked at Bitcoin in 2011 when it was like $4, and I didn't buy into it because I didn't believe in it. Which I look back and I'm like, oh my god, you were so stupid. But anyway, I think you look at it and it's like it's a new asset class, and it could very well stay around there. If you look at I think Bitcoin, like if you want to compare it to something that we've known for a long time, it's like gold. Gold, the only value it has is that we all decide it has some value. And the same with Bitcoin. So can it stay like this as this store of value? Maybe it will need to stabilize a bit more over time. But there's no reason why it wouldn't. I don't think there will be like hundreds or thousands of cryptocurrencies like you have now. Makes no sense, because you don't need that much. You need just one store of value that works well, which is not the case yet for Bitcoin, but it could be. But so I'm not a crypto skeptic. I do believe lots of people like think it's a good bet. Why not? A lot of people are completely against it. Some people are like what I call cryptomaniacs, and they just believe in the crypto. My advice is just, if you want to invest in stuff, diversify. Invest a bit in everything. If you want to put money in crypto, sure, but you put money in other places, and then this is what a good portfolio strategy is. But could it? Yeah, I don't think it's bullshit. A lot of cryptocurrencies are bullshit, but for instance, Bitcoin, I don't think so. I mean, there's too much money for everybody to be stupid about it.
Absolutely. Hope that answers your question, Mr. Rodriguez. We are going to go to a quick commercial break. You guys don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Good day, podcast listeners. This is your boy, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I wanted to let you guys know that we will be rolling out a new feature and adding a join sponsor button next to the subscriber button here at the bottom of your screen. Once you click the button, it will display 3 membership levels. Gentleman Gentry, which is our entry level. Duke, Duchess, which is our season level, and the Emperor and Empress, which is our most sophisticated level, which you will receive unique perks and benefits at each differing level and gain access to our community tab. We will also be sharing polls, upcoming events, and interviews, as well as receive feedback from our sponsors directly. Your support helps me find new and exciting guests to bring to the stage live. Well, in order to get the higher end speakers, it requires, you guessed it, money. So thank you for tuning in to my channel. And if becoming a sponsor sounds good to you, then select the join button below and choose your desired sponsor level. Let's continue to grow and serve the future of generations of men and women to come. Love you guys. Bye. Hey everybody, we are back to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. We have the incredible, the amazing Mr. Tristan Pelloux, and he is breaking down the FinTech review and why FinTech is important, why FinTech is crucial, and why blockchain and the integration of blockchain into the financial services industry is important. And it is something to focus on, it is something to study, and it is something to pay attention to. So Mr. Tristan, if you missed that, scroll back, go back, tune in from the beginning and check him out. This is absolutely impactful. Mr. Tristan, what are the top major trends in fintech technology? And I'll give you one that kind of caught my attention, and it kind of came out of COVID-19, I think, where the financial institutions are trying to integrate things like technology so that you can kind of like go cardless, right? Almost like a facial recognition or a thumbprint recognition versus, the traditional debit card or credit card. What financial technologies have you seen that have caught your attention that you've done reviews on and really kind of said like, wow, this is something to pay attention to?
Yeah, so I mean, what you're saying in terms of payments, I think there are some very strong and deep trends in payments going from, I mean, I know it's not as developed in the US, but in Europe, like contactless payments is very big, and it's growing much more these days. So not even any PIN now. It's like they've been with COVID-19, they've been increasing the limits that you can pay contactless. So now depends on the country, it can be up to 100 euros and 100 pounds. So it's been quite a fascinating trend over the years. You also have, I mean, obviously, like more broadly, payments, that cash is slowly not dying, but it's just retreating a bit, and many more people are using cards or like other electronic payments. It can be directly mobile to mobile, your Venmos and similar systems. And actually, COVID-19 has accelerated this because, you know, like actual cash is a dirty thing. So obviously, when there is a virus around, you don't want to handle stuff. So you're like, okay, actually, it's better to use a card to use payments. So this has been also an interesting trend. Um, and yeah, and I think, I mean, there are lots, what I was saying with, for instance, with AI, you can, when it comes to lending to customers, can be business customers or retail customers, if you build models that are able to handle a wide array of data, so not just relying on credit score, but you look at patterns into, like, you can look at patterns, for instance, the way you use your phone. You can did it, like you can see if someone is going to be more reliable than others. You have very interesting stuff that you can use by looking deep into data and kind of broaden the scope of data you use to lend to people, which is great for financial inclusion, because you still have a lot of people that don't have a credit score or don't have a good credit score. And I think there are a lot of things to do here to really increase financial inclusion, bring more people in, and then, like helping them improve their credit score, for example, as well. So I think there are still a lot of things to do, but it's quite an exciting time in fintech.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love how you brought up the subject of credit score. I saw this as a breakdown in China. I think it was China, where they're actually installing applications of social credit score, in which it involved a lot of watching you, right? So cameras everywhere. It was called like you. It was built around social credit score, and your social credit score was built around your habits, right? Just like you said, your smartphone is connected to your smartphone. When you walk into a store, there's facial recognition software that takes a picture of you or recognizes you, and it's based off of your daily habits. Are you exercising every day? Are you going to the gym, or are you going to the doctor? Are you checking into work early? Are you checking into work on time? Are you prompt to work, or are you always late to work? And it was kind of developing this social credit score based off of not just your financial habits, but your daily living habits, and overall encompassing how you were as a human being, and were you socially worthy of financial services or products. Were you doing things that were healthy for you, or were you contributing to negatives in society? And so I love how that, well, I don't love it. It was different. It was scary. And I think as we advance in technology, we will become more socially observed. We will be
Mm.
in order to get more access to certain financial products, it requires you to give up a certain amount of privacy, I think. Is that a trend that you're seeing as well?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, when you look at the social score in China is quite peculiar in the sense that yeah, as you say, it's like credit score on steroids, and everything in your life is you're scored for everything. I think, I mean, the way I see it, I'm like, look, credit scores are a bit rigid in the way they're calculated, and which means that some people are not included or have bad credit scores for, like, weird reasons. Is that, if you look at the UK, the fact that you're on electoral vote means your score is higher. Like, what's the logic? I mean, there is a logic, I know, but it's like, yeah, but what if I don't want to vote, and then you're excluded for that? So I think, I mean, the way what I was saying, using more data, I was like, you can use, like, try to see patterns into someone that maybe he's not fitting all the boxes, but it's obvious that he's gonna pay back the loan. So trying to look at ways to do that. I mean, to give you an example, when I started working in the UK, and I started working for a bank, I couldn't get a credit card because I was in the country for 6 months, and this was I wasn't fitting in the box, and I was like, but I work for this bank, and I earn well and stuff. Why don't I have a credit
Wow.
card? Well, because you've been in the country for less than a year, so no credit card for you. So this is a bit ridiculous, right? Is that you should have
Right.
seen in the pattern in my projected salary or whatever, is that I was fine. And this is where I'm saying is that lots of these systems are just too rigid, and we need to change them.
It's true. True. One of the big changes that I've also noticed is now we have the introduction of certain states deregulating CBD and marijuana use. And so the biggest change and the biggest contradiction is, how do you keep the consumer protected? How do you keep the consumer safe? And how do you integrate that? How do you differentiate between the medicinal use of CBD products and CBD services into the traditional financial services? And how can you differentiate between the illegal? And so one of the unique things that I learned about was the introduction of age verification system and software that was being integrated into certain, for example, vending machines, where the vending
Mm.
machine the system, the kiosk could verify that you were of consenting age to make sure that that you're buying this product of age, and also it's been a medically assigned to you. Have you seen any changes in that technology, or do you see that benefiting the community? What have you seen in your reviews and research about the introduction of CBD and into the financial realm, banking?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the thing is, companies like in this field, at some point, it's all down to why you regulating something. Is that okay? It's for to protect consumers, and at some point, it's better to regulate something, and so you can have more control over the quality of stuff. This is true for everything, right? And it's better to regulate something rather than having it purely illegal, and then people buy it and they don't know what they're buying. And so I think this is true for, it's true for whatever product you're buying, is that at some point, if there is a demand, and maybe there are negative effects, but you can try to actually regulate and put like some kind of rules around it, so it's less harmful and people can consume stuff. And so for, I think that then it means so that CBD companies can actually get financing, and then it goes to another thing, which is what banks have, like the powers they have around allowing certain companies to have bank accounts or loans and not others. So it's actually an interesting debate. Is that should a bank be allowed to lend money to a CBD company, to an oil company, and then where do you draw the line between what is actually the company is legally operating, but the bank refuses to lend them money. Same with crypto businesses. Some can't
Right.
access financing, can't access bank accounts, and it's based on no rules. Like the bank is making their own rules because they don't want to. Maybe it's pressure from the shareholders. Maybe it's can be other lobby groups. So CBD, your big pharma can probably lobby a bit. Like no, don't lend to them because we don't want them to disrupt our little business. So you have all these movements, but I mean, for me, I'm like, banks should lend to customers. If it's a legal activity, they should lend to them. So CBD, oil, whatever. Okay, well, maybe you don't like oil, but this is not your choice to make, right? It's if
Right.
the business is legal, then you should have equal access to financing.
To funding. Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree. Totally agree. Don't block the business if it's legitimate. And so Miss Erica Holmes brought up a great question about blockchain. Blockchain operates off of a ledger, and that is supposedly quote unquote what makes it traceable and trackable. And so is blockchain truly safe and safe from and how does that integrate into the financial services, right? What's the difference between a blockchain ledger and my bank statement or the money tracing systems used in financial services, right? Is my bank money not safe because it doesn't operate on blockchain, or is a blockchain integration in the banking system better because it's more easily tracked, even though blockchain and crypto can cross state lines, judicial lines, it can cross into other regions of the world, right? It makes everyone on the same playing field versus the traditional concepts around money.
Yeah, I mean, the way to look at it, it's always around. I mean, you have different types of blockchain technology, but if you look at what we commonly think it is that it's distributed versus what you were talking about, which your bank, it's centralized. That the bank is the only one who has a ledger, so they know how much you have, and you need to trust them that they're not fudging the numbers.
Okay.
The Bitcoin, it's distributed, so it means that several people can see what's on the ledger. So that's why there is more trust in the system, because the system is transparent much more than in a centralized ledger. However, it doesn't mean that your bank is not secure. They invest like billions into cybersecurity to be sure that nothing happens. Well, sometimes things happen, but they do invest a lot in it. And blockchain is also not 100% secure. You can have you can have attack on the system. If someone picks like it's called a 51% like attack, which means that like, if you have control over more than, it's a bit like a company. If you have control over 51%, then you can start to play around with the numbers. So nothing is never totally safe, totally unsafe. There are like various stuff. The difference is that in a decentralized system, you have the likelihood that it would happen is less so because you have more people involved rather than a central entity. Is like the likelihood that something bad has happened is a bit higher. But I mean, what I was saying, the banks, they invest a lot of money, and I think, I mean, the question around is it the only ledger I trust is that the thing is you have lots of systems that before blockchain were here to have some trust. So you would have intermediaries, clearing houses when you do trading. For instance, there is a clearing house between the buyer and the seller to be sure that everybody gets paid at the end. And the thing is, yeah, I think the thing is that in business there's never really trust. Is that you give a bit of trust and you sign a lot of contracts because you're like, what, dude, like we're friends, but this is business. So that's the thing, is that there will never be 100% trust. Financial services, blockchain or not, is that this is just the nature of the beast.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Mr. Tristan, sir, how can my audience connect with you? How can we grow with you? How can we learn more about your reviews and how you break down the integration between financial services and technology?
Yeah, sure. So look, I'm quite all over the place. So you can find me on Twitter at fintech_review. You can find me on Instagram, fintech review, all in one. You can find me on my website, fintechreview.net. You can find me on LinkedIn, Tristan Pelloux. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Fintech Review. You can find me on Facebook, Fintech Review. So, I mean, really, and I'm always keen to talk to people, engage with people, answer questions when I can, really engage with the community. And yeah, and I've started past few weeks working on my own company. It's a secret project for now. I can't tell a lot about it, but it's in wealth management, to try to democratize wealth management. So we're a team of fintech guys, economists, and artificial intelligence experts, and we're trying to build something that is going to make a big difference in wealth management. So watch the space. Follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me, and you'll hear more about it very soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Check him out, y'all. Connect, grow, and stay tuned for more. He's on the move. He's introducing something juicy. Sir, thank you for your time. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to give back in this way. This was powerful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Really enjoyed having you. You are a blessing, sir. Continue to do what you do. Continue to push forward and strive and innovate, because we need you, right? We need to know what's coming down the pipeline, what's in store for us technology-wise. So thank you for what you do. Don't ever give up.
Thank you. I will.
Absolutely. And thank you all, my audience, for tuning in to the Gentleman Style Podcast show. I hope this message has served you. I hope this was educational and informal and enlightened you into a deeper way of thinking about finances and banking and blockchain and the integration of technology into your lives. I hope this message has served you very well. And so I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for more. Continue to subscribe, like, and share. We are on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Audible, Google, Facebook, and YouTube. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, click the link, and you're watching us on YouTube, click the link below so we can continue to find great guests like Mr. Tristan to give back and serve. Like I end every show, take care of your family, take care of your friends, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show, your favorite gentleman, and Mr. Tristan Pelloux signing off. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.